Hi, my name is Hahn. I maintain a blog called Mini Matisse, and today I want to talk to you about artist trading cards in the classroom. You may have heard of artist trading cards before. They're small, little cards made by artists. They're only 2.5 by 3.5 inches big. They're the same size as like a baseball card or a Pokemon card. They fit real nice in these baseball card sleeves, like that. Let me tell you some of the applications of these artist trading cards. The first one, and probably one that I use most often for artist trading cards, is practicing some new skills. So for example, my fourth graders here were learning about hatching and cross-hatching. So we practiced it first on artist trading cards before we moved on to our final project. Another application of artist trading cards is to practice maybe new skills. So for example, this is metal tooling, and this was the first time that my students have ever used metal before. So it was really nice to practice on a small piece of metal before they moved on to their final project as well. So learning new concepts and practicing skills are two reasons you would want to use this in the art room. An additional one is pre and post tests. How nice is it to ask your students to create maybe a self-portrait, but only on a small piece? It's not as intimidating. You take that, and then at the end of your lesson, you give them a post-test asking them to make a second artist trading card. Now they have their first and their second, and they can analyze that. You can too. You can see the student growth that was shown in the lesson that you taught. Don't let artist trading cards just stay in the art classroom. Pump up the teachers in your school. Tell them about artist trading cards and give them ideas of how they can use it in their classroom. Can you imagine other teachers in your building using artist trading cards to teach their concepts too? Maybe in first grade when they're learning about the life cycles of a butterfly, they can show the life cycles of a butterfly on artist trading cards. They can start collecting these for all subject matters. It could be pretty cool and quite a collection by the end of the year. Okay, so now we have two parties involved. The art teacher is using artist trading cards. The homeroom teachers are using artist trading cards. Let's bring it one step further. Maybe you can exchange with other schools in your district. Let's say we have the first graders send something to the 12th graders, and the 12th graders reply with maybe another piece of artwork. Wouldn't that be a neat exchange? So something I've done in the past is actually have parents exchange with their students. I invited parents to create artist trading cards for their kindergartners around Valentine's Day. The kindergartners created something that looked like this, and the parents got to create something that showed their love for their student. I received almost 100% artist trading cards back from parents, and teachers and myself, we were willing to create little artist trading cards for students who might not have received one. It was a real successful exchange. At the middle school level, I used artist trading cards for enrichment. My art club created artist trading cards. I only saw them once a month, and it was only for like an hour. So this was perfect. We did really fun things like using latch hook to create artist trading cards. And let me tell you, a 2.5 by 3.5 inch space is about enough for latch hook. Artist trading cards can also be used to let students think critically about their art. They can also compare and contrast different cards. I had students put another card that they received next to their card. They compared and contrasted the two cards. They also wrote about theirs and what they could already tell about the other ones. Some of the information that they were answering on this worksheet: what is the same on these cards? What is different? What do you like about this card? What information do you get off from this card? It helps our students think about their art in a deeper sense. Artist trading cards are the perfect addition to the modern art classroom. There's lots of reasons why. One is when I started at the middle school, I saw the students about 45 times. When I moved to the elementary, I saw them 35 times. This last year, we were able to offer through our district more opportunities for our students, and therefore that cut into my time again. I only see them 28 times in the year. That is not enough to do the huge projects that I have been doing in the past. So creating artist trading cards is a good compromise to what I used to do. I still need to teach them the concepts, the standards of our nation and our state, but I have to do it in less time. So I'm making our projects smaller. I'm using artist trading cards to get those concepts, those ideas across. I had the opportunity this last semester to work with students at St. Cloud University of Minnesota. I worked with elementary educators, or soon to be. I wanted to teach them as much as I could, as quickly as I could, so they would be pumped up to use art in their classroom or their future classroom. Here's one example. I used artist trading cards to teach them all the different processes of using watercolors, different techniques and different methods. When I was teaching my students at St. Cloud State how to do these processes, I told them I was teaching them magic. They brought this magic into their classrooms, in their practicums, in their student teaching. It was a success. The teachers that I was teaching brought art into their homeroom classrooms. This last school year, I did obtain about 7 trades. You can see every time that I received a card, I would place it up on the board. I would also put the information of the school on there as well. Sometimes we received information from the school or the after-school program or the homeschooler telling us a little bit about their situation. We got to learn about other states, other countries. We learned about Canada this year, as well as other schools and what education looks like for other students. This is how I organize my artist trading cards. So I have a whole container here of pre-cut artist trading cards. You can pre-cut artist trading cards, or you can also buy them, which saves on a lot of time. So if you have it in your budget, you should certainly feel free to purchase artist trading cards. I also have my pins and string that I use to quickly, I know where my materials are, and I can quickly put this up on the map when I receive the trades. The cards themselves, we add our information on the back by using this stamp. So I have this available to my students. They know where to find that stamp. And then all of the sheets that I need for students to put their artwork in as they come to class, those are all in this drawer and organized. Storage of artist trading cards is really simple. Artist trading cards can simply fit in a binder. So every class has a half of a drawer, and in the drawer is a binder. We can still get other art projects in the area, in the space. And the artist trading cards fit in one nice little binder. I always have them have their name on a colored piece of paper up at the top. The colors coordinate with the table colors. So it's really quick and easy to pass these out and get them back again. Making a high quality trade is very, very important when you're passing these on to another school. So a couple of things that you want to keep in mind when you're doing an artist trade is to make sure that your card is the proper size. This is really important. If you purchase the cards, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're not purchasing them, I have 2 suggestions for you. First, get volunteers to do it. Ask them to make the paper cut, make it nice and even and straight. You really want to make sure that these are the right size. Another solution is using a tracer so that students can draw around this and get the right size. On the back of your cards, you always want to make sure that you have the proper information. So using the stamp, like I showed you earlier, making sure that the name, the medium, the title, the date, and maybe some generic information that's true of all of your classroom, like the location, can also go on the stamp. Another solution a lot of teachers will do is they will put information on the back to begin with. So they'll have kind of a card that is on cardstock or a heavier paper. They make this printed out and they cut the cards ahead of time. It's really important to have high quality when you're trading with other schools. It's hard for students to give something that they love and they work so hard on to someone else to receive something that they don't feel is as quality. So it's important that you talk to your students, maybe even having a rubric of what is good, what could use some improvement, what makes a great card, maybe putting even a time expectation of A card should take you at least 45 minutes or an hour to complete. I try to talk to my students before we do a trade. I talk to them about representing Minnesota, representing Rogers or Hassan Elementary. I want to pump them up. I want them to be proud of what they're working on. I push them to work on these cards for about 45 minutes to an hour. So it's important that when you're trading with other people, you're prideful of what you're putting out there so that the stuff that you get back, your students are excited to receive. That way, they'll be more willing to trade in the future. All right, let's get into the trade part of artist trading cards. There are many places that you can find trades for artist trading cards. Unfortunately, a lot of them you have to be 18 years or older. So in some ways you can sign up your class, but for the most part, you're going to want to stay away from those sites. Those are more for you, for your personal artist trading cards. A really safe and successful place to find artist trades is on ArtEd 2.0 Ning. That's one of my favorites. If you go to the groups, you'll be able to type in ACT or artist trading cards and you'll find lots of opportunities there. Other opportunities to trade can be found on social media. There is a woman named Rose Crislum who contacted me asking me to join a group for artist trading cards. She's also done a couple of events, so that's another way that you can start trades. This next school year, 2015-16, I will be hosting a mass artist trading card trade. I'd like to invite you to get involved. You'll find more information for this on the handout or on my blog, minimatisse.blogspot.com. The way my artist trading card swap is going to work is I will be collecting artist trading cards from all over the world with a deadline. At that deadline, I'm going to take all of the cards, shuffle them all up, and trade them back. You will get the same amount of cards that you send to me. You might get cards from other states and maybe even throughout the world. I am so pumped for this artist trading card trade. I hope that you will become involved. I hope you can use the artist trading card idea in your classroom some way, somehow. I hope that this was relevant to you. Thanks a lot for letting me speak to you on artist trading cards.